This is Dr. Ira. We're going to be doing practical veterinary medicine. Today's guest is Russ Norcross. He's a trainer. We'll let Russ tell you about his background and how to reach Russ. Russ and I worked together for years when he was on the sheriff's department with the canine unit. And Russ also trained my two Goldens, who are still crazy, but they're better than before Russ, much better after Russ got hold of them. Let's put it that way. So Russ, would you introduce yourself and how do we get hold of you? What do you do?
Okay. Hey, my name is Russ Norcross. I am owner of Blue Line Canine, located in Ocean View, New Jersey. Our phone number is 609-460-6500, or you can reach us at bluelinek-9.com. My background, I retired from the Cape May County Sheriff's Office. I was a sergeant in the canine unit. I handled 9 dogs in my career. I was a supervising canine trainer. We conducted training for bloodhounds for search and rescue, scent detection, and patrol. So when I retired, I was able to take a big part of my career with me as far as the knowledge with training, and started helping people with training their pets. And like Dr. Ira said, I think that you were one of my first non-law enforcement training.
I think we were, yeah.
with dogs, but in the end, dogs are dogs. They have drive and personality, and teaching owners to how to communicate with their dog and how to allow the dog to be with the personality they're bred to have. So with the energy, with the drive, and still balanced and obedient.
So I asked Russ to explain how to find a trainer, what to look for a good, reputable trainer, because just like everybody else, good ones and bad ones, just like doctors, veterinarians, and everybody else. And then Russ will talk about training your puppy. So Russ, it's all yours.
Sure. When it comes down to training, there's a lot of different training out there, and when you look at what makes the training different, it comes down to equipment. The principles of training and what you should look for in a trainer is a trainer that understands how to use the equipment for operant or classical conditioning. And, whether it's food reward or a toy drive, leash control, or e-collar, it all comes down to, do they understand how to use that equipment in the scientific basis of either classical conditioning or operant conditioning. And it starts with puppies. From the time you get the dog home, everybody uses food to reward and lure the dog and start to teach behavior. When using food for that, you should identify the moments that you want to reward and that you want to mark for a behavior that you want the dog to recreate. And I think one of the first commands that people easily teach their dog is to sit, and they sit for a treat. And when you give the reward to the dog, you don't give it to them before they sit, you give it to them after the sit. And that starts the dog's knowledge of how to get attention from you and how to get reward from you, and through a good behavior. And when you look back and you see dogs and how they become domesticated, they became domesticated because they gave you attention and affection. And in return, you provide them with nourishment, and you provide them with shelter, and you provide them with water. And that is how the bond between human and dog first formed. And that reciprocation has just developed to now. We have multiple dogs in our house, and we create a little pack. And when these dogs come in, and we accept them into our family, we have to understand that they're still dogs, and they still have this genetic disposition back to a wolf, that they have different drives, and they have different ways that they understand the world that humans we don't see the same way. And that's where we can apply human emotions to what we perceive that the dog is understanding. But I think we miss the mark a lot as humans, because dogs don't have human emotion. So dogs have adapted a way to, instead of going hunting and gathering for food, they allow us to do that by going online or going to the pet store and ordering food and giving the dog the resource that they would have had to work for. And when you use food for that in training, and especially as a puppy, it's the root of their understanding. So with using food as a value that the dog understands that you're providing it as a pack leader, you're establishing a role in your household as you're the one that's going to provide the food. Withholding the food and waiting for the moment to mark a behavior becomes important. And the withholding is a big part of reward-based training, and that's waiting for the moment to give the dog the reward for the behavior. And then when the dog performs the behavior, it's in that moment that you want to reward and give them that resource. That really starts the communication between the owner and the dog. The dog learns that they can give you attention, give you a behavior, and then you're going to provide that resource or nourishment. And then the leash becomes another tool for that communication. And dogs understand that when pressure is applied to the leash, that, non-verbally, if they go against that pressure, they should come back towards it, because it just applies more pressure when they're against it. And then when they come towards it, then that's the first step in the dog learns how to self-reward by coming back. And all this is not a one-time occurrence. You have to repeat this behavior many times for it to become a form of muscle memory. But dogs are creatures of habit, and they learn from repetition and consistency. And that goes into another struggle that people have is housebreaking a dog. Even second time, third time dog owners, having a puppy is really a short part of their life, and you kind of survive the puppy phase of the chewing and the housebreaking, and you get through it, but you don't remember how you got there. And the quickest way to get to housebreaking would be to set a routine that is consistent and that is in the dog's favor. So, a dog becomes housebroken when they have no accents inside and they do all their business outside. And a way to do that is to be consistent. I set my clock for every hour for the first week that I had the puppy, and that's around the clock. And I just start forming the habit, going out the same door every time, saying the same commands every time, and getting the dog into habits of going outside to do their business. I make it sound easier said than done. You're going to miss some cues for the dog of when they have to go. They might go outside and get distracted. A bird flies by, a leaf goes by, and they want to chase it. So make sure that they're not occupied by the environment, which is also important, that they're comfortable in their environment. But if you don't think the dog had a chance to do his business when he come back in, then you can bring him right back outside to give them another opportunity, a different mindset to again do their business. And you want to reward. You can reward with food, praise, something to make the dog realize that he did the appropriate thing. If you're
recommending crate training, right?
Yeah, crates are great. Crates give the dog a safe environment. They give the dog a place that, everything that you introduce into the crate, you should approve. It should be something that they can't destroy, they can't chew up, that gives them that safe place that they can live. And when you use crates, the dogs, they learn to like it. And a lot of times, when you're looking around, where's the dog? They're probably in the crate enjoying their snack, treat, their toy, because that becomes a place of their own. And dogs are, they're comfortable in a den, in their own place. And if you think of a crate that way, I think that the stigma of a crate as punishment is it goes away. If you're only using a crate for punishment, then of course that's punishment. But if I tell my dogs to go to bed, they hustle to the crate, because for the first few weeks that they come in the house, they get their treats in the crate. So I say, go to bed, and they go to their crate and they get their treat. And crates don't have to be separation. You can close the door, open the door, just so that the dogs get in the habit, but just make the crate just like a place marker where they go to get that attention.
One of my dogs used to sleep in a crate at night with the door open, and if any of the other dogs went by the crate, she'd growl at them. So
Yeah.
it was definitely her spot. And
Yeah, and I have a dog that she'll grab the door and close it on her, behind her because she likes some privacy, I guess.
Yeah, and I can tell you from experience, when you were training our two Goldens, that if we didn't keep up with the training between sessions, they didn't learn anything. They just went right back to their lunatic selves.
So so training is it's a perishable skill. You lose proficiency over time. There is a maintenance element to training, but if you spend the time to teach and you spend really the dog has a good understanding of the foundation, and it's repeated not only when you're training but as a part of a routine. And that's a big focus that I work on, is that everything we teach is sustainable for a daily routine. But in the end, teaching a dog to sit is still sit no matter where you are. What happens is the environment or situations change that make it more difficult. And when you have difficulty like that, you look back to your foundation. And if you had a good foundation, the dog didn't forget anything. It's just the expectation to follow the commands.
Well, our time is almost up. Thank you, Russ. Can you just give us your phone number and your email address again in case people have questions?
Sure. It's phone number is 609-460-6500. And you can check us out on www.bluelinek-9.com.
I want to thank Russ for coming on with us, and hopefully that gave you some information, and he'll be on hopefully next month again. Everybody have a great day.